Hello, student of class 12. Sorry. Now, this is the second poetry, the poetry of Earth. Asleep in the Valley, I have already discussed. Now, today I am going to discuss about the poetry of Earth written by John Keats. So, this is the second poetry, and after that, I will go to the drama. দুটো করে পোয়েট্রি, দুটো করে প্রোজ শেষ করার পর we are going to the drama, that is proposal. So পরের ক্লাসে আমরা ধীরে ধীরে এই পোয়েট্রিটা শেষ করার পর আমরা প্রপোজালে চলে যাব. So poetry of Earth written by John Keats. আমি বারবার বলি, I am repeatedly request you, so before going to the poetry or poems, I think you have to discuss about the poet first. Now, a 25 years age poet, John Keats, he was well noted in the history of English literature because of his romantic writings, love towards the nature, always finds the aliveness within the nature. And he was well connected with the writings of, Byron, Shelley, Coleridge, there is Wordsworth. So one way he belonged to the second generations of romantic poets who came after the Coleridge and Wordsworth. So he was actually making the continuations of the romanticisms in English literature. So that great poet was actually born in 1795 in England. His father and mother, that liberally they were not alive for a long days. In his very young age, he lost his father and mother, 1804 and 1810. But as he was the eldest son out of 5, he has a lot of responsibility. So from the very beginning, though he was brilliant and practiced in Hospital of London, but his mind was totally covered with the writings of poetry. So Keats felt himself very clearly from the very beginning that he was not to be a doctor, he was actually a poet. He actually studied the Spenser, the different kinds of Latin poets and dictionaries. So Roman mythology also attracted him, and he had written so many great poetry. Basically, in 1817, his first little volume, verse poems, actually published. The most important lines of his life is, "A thing of beauty is joy forever." And he write down the last sonnet, that is Bright Star. That great man had written a list of. So it is sure that Keats is an unquestionable champion, artist of the beauty. Finally, we can say that he was one of the supreme master of poetic expression. He expresses the beauty of the nature vividly, though there have imagination, no doubt, but always wants to show you the truth of the nature. So through his writings, one is most important, Ode, Nightingale, Hyperion, and Isabella. বড় হয়ে তোমরা এগুলো একটু ট্রাই করবে পড়ার, and that will help you in the honors level. So, the poetry of art. Its name, their poetry here means actually it's originally poem, is a Greek word poem, P-O-E-N. That was Greek word means create. So poetry actually a creation of the nature, the mind. And lyric and sonnet, you will get the sonnet means octave and sestet part. So one part will give you the meaning, and other part will compare, and finally give you the message. So lyric and sonnet, that lyre and a little sound, that means actually halka sound. Its poetry has a musical melody. So a poetry of art actually reminds us that the rhythm of the earth, the continuation of the earth, which never been ceased, which never been stopped. It's a continuations of life. And how the continuations of life is actually going through one after another without any wait for run, means it is quite true that nothing is wait for another. When someone is exhausted, someone is tired to do anything, another person is really ready behind or beside of that things or that man or that person to complete the job. So it is quite life learning is there, that don't think that you are the all in one in that job or in that art never been stopped. Alternative is ready. So please do your job and try to give a spot, give a mark in this world about your activity. So now first we will study the poetry first, and then I will discuss today the first stanza. The poetry of art never dead. When all the birds are faint with the hot sun and hide in cooling tree, a voice will run from hedge to hedge about a newborn meadow. That is the grasshopper, he takes the lead. In summer luxury he has never done, with the delights for when tried out with fun. So that is first paragraph. He rests in Asia, beneath some pleasant weed, the poetry of art ceasing never, on a lone winter evening, when the frost has wrought a silence from the stove, there shrills the cricket song in warmth increasing ever, and seems to one its downstairs drowsiness half lost, the grasshoppers among some grassy hills. So before going to the discussion, now one thing please try to remember here, that originally that poetry of art actually published in first on the grasshopper and cricket in 1816. The original name of this poetry is On the Grasshopper and Cricket in 1816. Next, it was transformed into the poetry of art. This poetry also published in 1824 with the name of John Keats publication, with the poetical works of John Keats in 1884, with this poetry another again published. So it is a real popularity among the peoples, and the beauty of the art, the universality of the music is the main theme of this poetry. The beauty of the art or universalism in music, what never been ceased, what never been stopped. That was the truth of this poetry. The poetry of art is never dead. The very first line informed you that the rhythm of the art, that means the melody of this art, the work activities of this art, never been stopped. The music of this art, the beauty of this art, the continuations of this art never been stopped, never be obstructed. When all the birds are faint with a hot sun, it's quite sure that after doing a long job, maybe the birds are fainted in the scorching heat of summer. But don't think, my dear friend, the song of bird may be stopped, but song of the grasshopper will continue. And hide a cooling trees, a voice will run. When the bird is taking his rest after the great tiredness in the scorching heat of summer, what is unaccustomed to the birds, it is more comfortable to the grasshopper. So this is the universal truth in this art, that when in some circumstances, when there are some situations, the bird is unable to do the job, the grasshopper is ready to do it. And it's happened in our world also. So this image actually reflects the meaning that when in any circumstances, when you are not ready to do this job, you are exhausted, you are tired, you are unable to complete it, someone is ready to do this. Means someone has this capacity to don't think about negatives, that I'm actually the highest one. It's never been the thinking. So the grasshopper actually coming out from the hedge to hedge about a newborn meadow. The total field is covered with the green bush and different kinds of leaves and other things, bushy areas. So what happened? Now the grasshoppers were ready to come on. It's a duty of grasshoppers. So it is quite sure that the melody of bird, now it's continue with the grasshopper. That is the grasshopper, he takes the lead in summer luxury he has never done. So my dear students, just try to remember this one. What is? The excessive heat may creates the different situations, and where the bird actually fainted, where the bird actually, unable to do the job. But on the same hand, the one voice will run, that is grasshoppers. That grasshoppers actually come on to take the lead. And it is the luxurious situations to him. Just think about it. The situations is the same. It is a scorching heat of summer. What is impossible to accustom properly to the bird. But it is most luxurious, most comfortable to the grasshopper. It is an amazing of this art. So art, that's why the poetry of art, the rhythm of the art never been stopped. With these delights, for when tired out with the fun, he rested beneath the pleasant weed, the poetry of art is ceasing never. So one thing, just try to remember this one, my dear student. So what do you think? After the grasshopper, it will be stopped? No, never been. Someone is ready after the grasshopper to take the lead. So what is uncomfortable? What is dangerous for one? It is comfortable. It is luxurious to someone. So it is the universal truth in our daily life also. If we think that if I do not do the job will not be completed, never think this one. Your job will be completed by someone. When you are thinking that you are uncomfortable, someone is comfortable with these situations. So that's all. The first stanza. I'm giving some questions to you. Please just try to remember. What is the meaning of the poetry of art? What is the full name of the poetry of art? What is the first publication of poetry of art? Uh, Write the most important works of John Keats. What is the message do John Keats want to give us through this poetry? How the poetry of art actually tells us the universal truth of our daily life. What does the grasshopper do when the bird actually fainted? What kind of circumstances does the poet actually given here just to justify the situations of life? Thank you very much for watching this class. Wait for the next stanza.